So before we start, I just want everyone to take a moment to just take a couple of big deep breaths and just relax and melt away any tension, because I want you to try and be as present as possible, because that's when we really tune into our intuition. So just melt away any tension and just feel into your body. And before we start, I want to ask you, have you ever taken on a job or a project or a favor, but everything in your being was telling you, no, don't do it, and you didn't listen, and then you did it, and you just knew, you just wished you hadn't? So this is a perfect example of your intuition trying to talk to you. Maybe you wanted to keep someone happy. Maybe you agreed to be the sports manager again for another term, and you're working full time and you've got 4 children. So anyway, that's your intuition talking to you. And even though your mind is telling you something different and leading you in another direction. So today I'm going to teach you how to learn the intuitive language of your body, because your body is always speaking. And so I'm going to teach you how to listen, because we're not so great at listening all the time. So what you'll take away from today, I'm going to give you some really practical tools, and I'm not one to sit there and listen to someone talk for an hour. So this is going to be quite interactive, and I'm going to give you little exercises to do, which I think you'll really enjoy. So I'm going to give you some practical tools on how to understand how your body communicates to you through symptoms and sensations. And I'm also going to help you deepen your connection with your intuition. And I'm also going to help you uncover the root causes of imbalances so you can achieve true healing. So I love this saying. I've had this on my email for a long, long time. So be yourself, because everyone else is already taken. So stop comparing, live from your truth. This is your body, your story, your knowing. And a lot of people who come to see me, it's a common theme. We're not all living 100% from our truth. I know the older we get, this becomes easier and kind of more obvious. But so this is, I also work with lots of teenage girls. So this is a great thing to try and learn from an early age, but some people still struggle with it. So my story, I'm a medical intuitive and spiritual coach. I know some of you on here, so you kind of know what medical intuition is. I've always had a lifelong passion for natural health and wellness. I've always seeked spiritual guidance for my own healing. Often kind of the traditional ways didn't really resonate for me. So I've always gone down the spiritual path. I just love how it gets straight to the root of the issue, and just gets to the core of the issue and has just beautiful results. And it's just so, yeah, it's easy. I wasn't designed for a long time, but I've actually realized design and intuition, they're actually coming from the same part of the brain. We're kind of tapping into that collective consciousness. So it's same, but different. I'm originally from Portugal, and Portugal's a land which is very rich in spiritual tradition, so it's definitely in my blood. My intuitive strengths are connecting with spirit guides. I've worked with my guides for 30 years, so for a long time, since before I was doing this work, and it's such an amazing, valuable tool that we all have and we can all access. And it's like a superpower we all have. A lot of people don't know how to use it. And even though a lot of clients who come to me are very spiritual, they're not tapping into their team of guides. I also have a natural ability in connection to past lives, mine and others. This has kind of happened throughout my life, people I've met or situations or my own healings, or just getting flashes, and in the past I didn't really understand what they were. So this is also a really powerful and beautiful way of healing, because often there's issues a lot deeper than we realize. I do believe we're not meant to remember our past lives for certain reasons. We could keep reliving that trauma, but seeing someone like me where I can help you go there and do some of the healing there, it's actually incredible and amazing. And a lot of times when we do go into a past life, it just makes a lot of common sense to our behaviours or our thoughts or beliefs. And also in relationships, that comes up a lot too. So who do I support? So I support women who are open to healing the mind, body, and the spirit. They know there's more to us than just the physical body. And if that speaks to you, I know you're going to love this approach, because what we do is we kind of explore and heal the root cause of health and wellness struggles. I work with all sorts of issues. I get lots of people who have come to me with relationships, whether it's with partners, families, friends, toxic relationships, also people who come to me who've lost a loved one. A lot of people who come with anxiety and low mood, because that seems to be so common these days. Emotional overwhelm, also hormones, menopause, fertility, everything, autoimmune issues, unexplained symptoms, major health diagnosis. But the main the common thread is that everyone really wants to heal from mind, body, spirit. Most people are already open to it, but often when you are given a big diagnosis, people start exploring that side of things. So that's where I come in. So let me explain what intuition is. You may know it as an epiphany, an inner voice, an aha moment, or a flash of insight. Aha moment, I always think of Oprah Winfrey. It's like your instinct or a hunch. And very simply, intuition is information. It's information from the physical and the non-physical. It pops in. There's no emotion attached to it. And a perfect example of this is remembering. You remember something, the information pops in, there's no emotion attached to it. You might be in the supermarket and you realize you need toilet paper even though it wasn't on your list. Or maybe you're looking for your car keys and you remember that you put it in the fridge with the oat milk. You weren't really thinking. So we're all wired to be intuitive. That's the great news. It's not a gift. It's a skill that we can all develop, but we're all born intuitive, and it's like a muscle that we can strengthen too. And we also have a stronger connection intuitively with those we're close to. So when I was growing up living at home, and I'd go out on the weekends, and this is when I was older, I didn't have a curfew, and I would come home at all different times. But no matter what time I came home, my mum would call me she would wake up 5 minutes before I arrived home. And then it got to a point where she'd wake up and she goes, oh, Sophia must be coming home. And sure enough, I'd be coming in the door not long after. And that would be all different times. So that's a perfect example of intuition, especially with those we're close to. So I want you to have a little think about maybe what drew you here to the call today, or even if we've already met, how did we meet the first time? So maybe just have a little think with any kind of little nudges or coincidences. Think about, what brought you today to this talk. And maybe if it's a topic you're really drawn to, maybe that's something else to explore. Why are you being drawn to this topic at this time in your life? Okay, so what is medical intuition? So medical intuition, it explores and heals the root cause, not just the symptoms. We don't even really focus on the illness or the disease. It helps us interpret our symptoms, because our symptoms are our body's way of communicating with us, and we're not really taught how to interpret what our body's trying to tell us. So this is something I'm going to be teaching you today how to do. And it's a holistic modality that heals the mind, body, and the spirit, because they're all interconnected. And it also taps into spiritual guidance, because that way we can just elevate the healing. It's more powerful than I can do alone. And then it also works in harmony with other healing modalities. It's not instead of other things. It works really well with Western medicine or other holistic modalities. Often doing this work, we're actually opening up the healing pathways, and it allows the other modalities to work better. I've even noticed people will come to see me, we'll do some healing, and then they might see an acupuncturist that fixes their knee like within a week. That's literally happened. So it's like healing, when you just happen to meet the right people for your ailments at the time. So that's quite cool as well. Yeah, so it's healing the mind, body, and the spirit, because all these parts are interconnected. In the West, we tend to focus mainly on the body. We do a little bit on the mind, but I feel like it's not enough. We kind of start working on the mind when there's something wrong, when we're feeling anxious or our mood is low. Whereas I feel, as much time as we spend walking and exercising and putting good food into our body, I feel like we need regular practices constantly that are also supporting our mind and our spirit. So it's like looking at the big picture. And it's not just, healing isn't just fixing one thing. It's about a balance and an alignment in all areas of your life. So I had a friend who's a doctor ask me, she goes, who invented medical intuition? And no one invented it. It's an ancient practice that's always been accessible to humans. Like, we're born intuitive. This has been around for as long as man has. We've just kind of lost it a little bit in the West, but it feels like we're all going back there now, which is amazing. So the Māoris in New Zealand are very big on including spirit into their healing. Aboriginals in Australia, Native Americans, and they also tap into spiritual guidance, because they know that also enhances the healing. It's like a superpower that we can all access. And in these traditions, it's really widely accepted, which I think is amazing. And it would be amazing if in our culture that also happened as well. I know it's not for everyone, and I'm not out to convince anyone, but it feels like, especially a lot of the young people, they're kind of a lot more open to it now, which is really good. And in the West, we do have modalities like traditional Chinese medicine and Ayurveda that do incorporate mind, body, spirit. So, different ways we receive information. So as I've said, intuitive information, it just pops in. The most common ways we pick up intuitive information is through our senses. So we have the 5 most common senses that we know, but apparently there's up to 33 different senses, and 2 others are thought and knowing, and then often we may have body sensations, feelings as well, that come along with an intuitive hit. And then, so I find the most common for me is thought, and I feel the general population, that is the most common way we get intuitive information, but everyone's different. Some people will hear things, some people will see things, but thought's definitely the most strongest for me. And then we also may see signs, so may receive signs in different ways. And as I've said, it's information from the physical and the non-physical. So it's a way non-physical can communicate with us and let us know if we're on the right path or remind us of someone. So for example, maybe you keep hearing a song on the radio, or you keep singing lyrics to a particular song. So really notice the lyrics that you're singing. Maybe I've always wanted a book to fall off the shelf and hit me on the head, but maybe someone lends you a book. There's other ways different books come to you, and I've definitely had the right book land on my lap at the right time through different ways. It could be repeated messages, you know, and over a couple of days, 2 different friends tell you exactly the same information. So this is also intuitive information. It could be a conversation you walk past and you hear a little snippet, which could be valuable as well. I see lots of number patterns. I know lots of people see lots of number patterns. I don't see particular number patterns, but all sorts of numbers. And for me, I kind of think of that as an indication that my guides are with me, that I'm on the right path, that everything's honky-dory. If you keep seeing the same number, you can Google it if you want to, or just kind of tune in and go, what does that number represent for me? Even for me on my phone, I have 4 4s because I love the number 4, and I never realized that 4 is the angel number. And even for the last 20 years, I've had a 4 on my number. We get intuitive information through animals. A lot of people who have lost a loved one have an animal that represents that person. They know they're around. Also in our dreams, our loved ones make a lot of effort to try and communicate with us, and we're not paying attention, they'll come to us in our dreams. So if you're dreaming of a loved one you've lost, really try and notice other signs in your life that they're trying to let you know they're around. We also get signs in nature, birds, maybe a feather, rainbows, physical signage. We all have these personal ways that we know we're getting messages. And then of course there's synchronicities and coincidences, and who doesn't love those? They're always fun, and that's always a really good indicator as well that you're on the right path, or you're meant to meet that person. You were meant to walk around that corner. It's no coincidence. So some examples of intuitionists talking to us. Maybe you're thinking of someone and then they text you or call you. So maybe next time you're thinking of someone, send them a message and just go, I'm thinking of you. And then they might actually say, I'm thinking of you too. Or, you're texting at exactly the same time. You send your friend a text and they also text you at the same time. Or maybe even before you pick up your phone, and someone sent a text or they're calling, who it is. It could be maybe you decide to take a different route and you either avoid something or something happens. It could be when you first meet a person, you're really drawn to the energy, or if you go to a certain place and you feel the energy, you really love it. It could be walking into a room and either picking up on the energy that someone's had an argument, or even if someone's had a bad day, you can kind of feel the energy in the room. It could be waking up in the morning with an answer or having clarity to a problem, which is always a goodie. Or it could be a sudden pull to do something random, which I get a lot. That's always fun. Okay, let's do our first little exercise. I love this exercise because I'm going to show you how differently it feels being in your left brain versus your right brain. So our left brain is our logical brain, it's our analytical brain, and it's our practical brain. And our right brain, it's our intuitive brain, creative, and it's where we sense things. And I absolutely love this image because if you look at this girl, she looks like she's in her creative brain. She's dreamy. She's in her intuitive brain. She's thinking of something happy. And notice she's also actually looking up to her right-hand side. She's looking up to her right brain. So this is a perfect example of someone being in their right brain. So I'll get you to close your eyes. And I want you to think of your to-do list. Okay, so think of all the things you need to do for the rest of the day and tonight. Now I really want you to tune in and feel where that feels like it's coming from in your brain, in your mind, in your body. Just tune into how that information came to you. And then just flutter your eyes open for a moment and then close them again. And now, without thinking too much, I just want you to pick a color that describes the mood you're feeling right now. So just pick a color that matches your mood. Just see what pops in. Don't think too much. And when you pick up that color, do you see it? Do you feel it? Do you say it in your head? And then also sense in your body where you're picking up that information, that color. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes. And I want you to notice and compare how they both felt. So everyone will feel this differently. For me, I kind of feel like my thinking brain, even though it's left brain, I feel it on my right and it kind of feels up here at the front. And my intuitive brain almost feels like it's a halo above here and kind of on my left. But it'll be just different for everyone. But I think that's a really good exercise. I did that with my husband, who's very, very left brain. And when I showed him the exercise, he goes, oh, right, okay. He kind of understood the difference. But then also his logical brain wanted to understand why he'd picked that color. So you can also notice when your brains start when they start interfering. So the left brain is structured, it's where we overthink, and the right brain, it's more free-flowing, there's no effort, and it's where intuition comes from. And we'll tend to be more than one than the other, but that's fine. But it's just good to notice the difference. Okay, another thing I love to teach people about is the difference between intuition versus anxiety, because just knowing this information can be really helpful and really supportive, especially if you do struggle with anxiety or experience anxiety. So as I said, intuition is like a pop of information. There's no emotion to it. It's very calm and it's very subtle, whereas anxiety is really loud. There's lots of emotions attached to it and you ruminate over it. So it's like comparing a really calm, gentle breeze. You need to be really quiet and present to even notice. And then anxiety is like a thunderstorm. It is loud, it is scary, it's emotional, and it just goes on and on and on. So that's a perfect example of noticing the two. So if you have anxiety, it's a thought, but there's also a lot of emotion attached to it. So that you are not predicting the future. That's not coming true. That's just your anxious mind stepping in. And then also our body gives us clues, because with intuition, your body's just relaxed. It doesn't really change too much from what you were doing. Your breath won't really change, it's kind of calm. With anxiety, you'll notice that maybe your muscles are tight, your heart starts to beat fast, and you kind of have a restless energy. There's quite a distinct difference between the two, but I find that's really helpful to understand the difference between those two. Okay, so now I'd like to teach you how to develop your intuition. So when I first started doing this work, I did not have any special gifts. I was a normal person, still a normal person. So what I noticed, and that's why I've put it in capital letters, is by being present and noticing, you will realize that intuition is actually talking to you all the time. I was just so surprised. It's there, but I wasn't aware of it. So you want to be present and you want to notice, and you just want to slow down and pay attention. And intuition comes to everyone differently. So the more you practice picking up on intuitive information, you'll realize how it comes to you. I get a lot of intuitive information. I love when I'm in the house doing boring jobs, I love not to have any music. So I get a lot of intuitive information then, or when I'm in the shower. Secondly, really, really, really important, don't try too hard. Just be open. I was listening to Joe Dispenza and how he had this super mystical experience, and he was trying to recreate the mystical experience, and he realized he was actually trying too hard. So you do not want to try too hard at all. You just want to be like an antenna and just be open to information coming in. So you want to tune into all your senses, because it's quite good to develop, like my thought sense, that's where I get most of my intuitive information from, that's really strong, but it's kind of nice to tune into my other senses as well, to try and develop those as well. Some practices you might like to do to improve your intuition is you may like to journal. Meditation's a really good one as well, and I find as well meditation where you're not listening to something, where you're just in your own meditation. Or simply just set the morning an intention in the morning when you wake up. So today I'm going to be really tuned into my intuition. I'm going to pick up on all my intuitive messages. So just having that intention is also really powerful. And really, really important as well is to trust. So the more you trust, the more it will free flow. So the more you listen, the more you trust, the more you practice, the stronger it will become. It's a muscle. At the same time, I highly recommend staying grounded. I know some people who all of a sudden discover this new intuitive skill and they go a bit crazy. So make sure you balance your intuitive insights with logic as well. Don't sell up your house and go and live with Eskimos in Iceland. But also a lot of the intuitive information, it's not way out and crazy. It's kind of common sense. Okay, so now I want to talk a little bit about our symptoms. So our symptoms are messages from our body, and a lot of clients come to me and they feel broken, but they're not broken. These are all symptoms. This is all information that our body is letting us know that it's not okay. So don't silence it. I know we don't want to be in pain. We don't want to be in discomfort. And if it is really something uncomfortable that you need to take relief for, that's fine, but still focus on healing the root cause. Don't just try and stop the symptoms. You're really just shushing your body up. And you just want to listen with care and attention and non-judgment, just lots of compassion and kindness. Often our symptoms can be a lot more revealing than a blood test. They're really good indicators of what's going on for us. And they're actually clues into deeper imbalances in the mind, body, and the spirit. So they carry a lot of valuable information. Symptoms. We've kind of been brought up in the West to think of symptoms as bad things that we need to stop. So let's look at what a symptom is really. So it's not a problem to silence, but it's a signal. So it comes from a Greek word which actually means something that befalls or happens together with something else. And it wasn't actually seen as a problem in itself, but it was actually a sign pointing to something deeper going on. So it's your body's way of saying, please listen. So often our symptoms start as little whispers, and then we're really good at not listening, and they get louder and louder. So for example, you have a full-on job, you've got lots of children, life is crazy, and you are tired, and you're not getting the rest that your body needs. So you're not going to bed earlier, you're not having naps on the weekends, you're burning the candles at both ends. So if you don't listen to your body, it's just going to get louder and louder and louder until one day you just won't have the energy, you'll be burnt out, you won't be able to get out of bed. So we really, really want to be able to tune into our symptoms right from the beginning so we can avoid that happening to our bodies. So yeah, symptoms are the language of your body and they're clues. And when we listen to them, that's when we can actually finally begin to heal. And I know women who have had ablation and they actually regret it, because once they've had that, they have no idea what's going on with their symptoms. So they're kind of, shut off their symptoms. It's just such an important part of our healing. So turning the symptoms off isn't the solution. Definitely don't be uncomfortable, but definitely still look at exploring and healing the root cause. So let's do another little exercise. So this is to teach you the language of your body. So just close your eyes again for a moment. And I want you to think of a current or a recurring symptom that you experience. So just tune into that. And then I just want you to be really curious and just ask, what emotion or situation does this remind you of? And just see what pops in. And now I want you to ask yourself, what's going on in your life right now? Like, where are there stresses or imbalances or tension? What is going on in your life right now? And then the third part, which I really like, is if this body part could talk, what would it say? What does it want you to know? What is it trying to tell you? So feel free to go back to this exercise after this talk. This is just a beautiful little exercise you can do, and even you can just practice if you've just got little niggles, but it's a great way to communicate with our body and let it be heard and give it what it needs. So you can open your eyes when you're ready. So I love this saying, you are what you eat, what you think, and what you feel. Because now I want to talk a little bit about our thoughts and how they also affect our health and well-being. So thoughts are actually energy, and they create real changes in your body, and they create real changes in your life. So every thought we have sends an electrical signal through your brain and your nervous system, and your body responds by releasing chemicals. And the brain doesn't always distinguish between what's real and what's imagined. I was listening to a podcast recently, and someone went and tried out the new virtual reality masks. And apparently when you have a mask on and you look, it feels like you're at the top of a building, your body actually believes, and your brain believes and thinks that you are actually at the top of a building. So the brain can't always distinguish between what's real and what's imagined, which is great when we're on a healing journey, because we can start tricking it. So a stressful thought can trigger the same physical response as a real life threat. And your thoughts aren't just mental, they actually do affect your biology. So fear and stress will release cortisol and adrenaline, and love and joy will release oxytocin, serotonin, and dopamine. So if we tend to be in a negative loop, and often this is we're not very conscious of it. We've got negative loops going on, or we're spending so much of our time and our day in negative thought patterns, is actually affecting us physically on a physical level. Whereas if we can start replacing those thought patterns with feelings of love and joy, that's actually doing a lot of amazing healing for our body. So another thing I also want you to do is pay attention how you speak to your body, and also what you think of your body. So I want you to really notice, and you'll notice, now that I've told you this, you'll actually notice friends and family also doing this. So notice the language you use about your body, because these are clues. So if someone's got a sore knee, they might call it my stupid knee, my annoying neck, my grumpy hip. We all do this, and you're going to notice people doing it now. So this is information. It's kind of not helpful. There's two parts of it. It's not helpful talking to our body like this, but it's also actually information. So you could have a pain in your neck, and you could go, who or what in my life is a pain in my neck, is a pain in the neck? It could be a work colleague, or it could be a job, or it could be a certain situation. So this is a clue into the language you're using. My annoying back, like who is annoying you? And I've done this, and it's actually amazing what comes up. So to support your healing, firstly, you take this information, go, okay, try and relate your issue, your symptom with what's going on in your life. And then also change the language around your healing. So I did this with my mother-in-law. She had a knee operation, and she was taking a long time to heal, and she was calling it her stupid knee, as we all do. It's a design fault we have. So I actually turned it around with her, and I said, let's talk lovingly to your knee. Your knee's in pain. Your knee wants love. So she started actually putting her hand on her knee and sending her knee love, and it was absolutely amazing the way that it helped her heal. And she absolutely loved it. So that's just, nice little technique, because when our body's calling out to us, it needs help, it needs love, it needs a support. So we want to talk to it like we would talk to a child. So let's do another little exercise, and I want you to experience how different thoughts show up in your body. So when you're ready, I'll just get you to close your eyes. So we're going to think of two opposite thoughts, and the first thought I want you to think of is a really calm situation, something that makes you feel really peaceful and calm. Maybe it's your favorite beach, being on holiday with your family. Maybe it's together with your best friends. Just tune into that thought. And then I want you to do a little scan on your body and notice what sensations you're feeling, how it's showing up in your body. Take note of where you feel it and how it feels. And then you can just flutter your eyes for a little bit again, do a couple of blinks. And then when you're ready, close your eyes again. And I want you to think of a really stressful situation. Maybe there's something stressful coming up. Maybe you have a deadline at work. Maybe you have to do a talk, something you're not comfortable with. There's something, or maybe there's a conversation you need to have with someone. Just think of a stressful situation that's coming up. And then I want you to scan your body and notice where you feel it and how it feels. So this helps us understand how our thoughts are connected to our physical health. And I just want you to notice your body's response between calm and stress and how different it felt. So this is actually a really powerful learning to understand and know that our thoughts are actually having an effect on our health, on our body. And most of the time we're not even aware of what our thoughts are. I've heard we have like 26,000 thoughts a day. So when you're ready, you can open your eyes. And a strategy you can use is when you are aware of your thoughts, just start bringing in thoughts of joy, calm, things that make you happy. And the more you do this, you'll grow those positive neural pathways in your brain, and you'll just start to naturally think of more positive, happy thoughts, spend less time in the negative. So this is a lovely saying that I love as well. A belief is simply a thought that you think a lot. A belief is not true. It's just a thought that you think a lot. And when you phrase it like that, it just makes it seem easy to change, right? So I had this thought, I used to go to the gym and I thought people didn't like me at the gym. I thought this for years until one time I was lying on the Pilates reformer and I'm going, that's not even true. I'm not even paying attention to anyone else in the class and they're not paying attention to me. So then I started to question, I go, where has this belief, this thought come from? Because it is not true. So this is what I did, and you can do the same. I tuned into my body and I go, where did I ask? Show me where the exact point of origin where this thought came from. And I went back to when I was a child. So I used to have cross eyes and I had an operation, my eyes weren't crossed anymore, but I've just never been very good at catching. I've got other strengths. I'm a really good runner. I was never very good at catching the ball. So when we're in primary school and everyone's choosing their team, I would always get chosen last. And I actually thought that was my learning, and I thought, oh, it was character building, it was fine. But when I was talking to a friend about it, it was actually a bit deeper than that. It was actually when I was in the team that finally, lucky them, got me in the team. When I was actually in the team and I was playing not very well, I felt like everyone in the team hated me. I felt like they didn't like me. So years and years and years and years and years and years down the track, I'd carried this thought and it was not serving me or not true or not, there was no benefit. So once we realize these thought patterns and where they came from and how they actually make no sense to our life now and they're not serving us, we can release them, clear them. I just handed it over to my guides in a big bubble, go, you can take this. This is old. I do not need this anymore. And it completely changed my thoughts. So that's a good little exercise to do as well when you notice your thoughts and you'll realize the repeating ones, the ones that no longer have any truth. Okay, so This is a little exercise. If you've come to me for a session, you'll know that we finish with homework. So I always give my clients homework because I want you to be in control of your healing. I'm the facilitator, so I want you to be in control. So this is a little exercise I actually just created for myself in the last week, and it's a bit delicious, so I'm going to share it. So I want you to close your eyes, and I'm going to help you to step into your magnificence. So whatever your magnificence means to you, for me, I took all the good things anyone had ever said about me in my whole life, from my childhood, as an adult, from friends, teachers, parents, everyone, even strangers that you meet for 2 seconds. I took all those things and I brought them into like a big ball. And I felt like this is my essence. This is my point of difference. This is me. This is the light that people see in me. So I decided I'm going to literally step into my magnificence. So I want you to just take a moment to gather all the energy of all the beautiful, amazing things anyone has ever said to you in your life. So bring them in, gather them in, and visualize it's this beautiful ball of energy in front of you, but feel it. So this is your magnificence, the light that people see in you. Even if you don't consciously remember things that people have told you, just bring those amazing things in. And now you're going to consciously make the intention that you are now stepping in to your magnificence. And I want you to visualize stepping forward into this huge ball of beautiful energy. You may see it as a color, big white light. And visualize yourself. You've now made the intention, I'm now stepping into my magnificence. So you are in your magnificence. So once you're in your magnificence, you don't need to step into it anymore. You are in it. And you may like to choose another word. I was talking to a friend the other day. She wanted to use the word light. So whatever that word feels for you, you are now stepping into your light. And I want you just to tune into that beautiful energy that you feel from stepping into your light. And then from now on, throughout the day, just consciously tune into your magnificence or your light and just feel it. And so I do this throughout the day, and I just feel this beautiful energy just radiating out. So I'm now walking in my magnificence, which is that beautiful energy, that beautiful light. I think it's just yummy and delicious. You can always adapt this to how it suits, how you feel, but your homework is to every day, consciously, and throughout the day, just connect into that magnificence that you are now walking in. It's just delicious and yummy. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes. So just to finish off, why medical intuition works, it's because we're exploring and healing the root cause. And often these things that we're exploring and that come up, they make complete sense. It's like just putting the pieces of the puzzle together. It could be thoughts, it could be behaviors, it could be patterns, and these are quietly shaping us beneath the surface. But once we're aware of them, we can let them go and we can heal them. It's also a really gentle process because we don't relive any trauma. If there's any big stories in our life, we always go back to the time before that happened and we do the healing there. So it's actually really beautiful, really calming. I don't believe in reliving trauma. It helps us heal our stories. Don't like to use the word trauma too much, but we all have these stories, and most of the time they hold lessons and meaning, and it's part of our soul's evolution. Could be either from this life or past life. So doing this work will heal our stories. And sometimes it's not even something big and traumatic. It could be a little small experience. It also helps us process and helps us heal unprocessed experiences from our family line, from our ancestors. Just like disease and illness gets passed down, so does unresolved emotions or stories get passed down as well. And sometimes they can magnify as they get passed down. So doing this healing work, sometimes we'll bring in the ancestors, and the people who are living are so happy and grateful that we've been able to offer that healing to the ancestors. And then also it has a flow-on effect to all their siblings, their future children. So it's actually a beautiful way of healing as well. And yeah, it could be even little really small moments in childhood, like a comment that someone told you, that can actually shape how we feel and how we live, and we're not even really consciously aware of why we're behaving or thinking like that. And so intuition helps us uncover these hidden influences so we can actually heal. We can't always change what happened, but we can definitely choose how it shows, how we live, how it lives with us, and how we live with it now, how it shows up in our life now. And then also I like to hand the control to everyone, because you are the healer, practitioners are your guides, but healing is in your hands. And to be a really active participant, I know sometimes we go to a practitioner and we don't do the exercises, things they've told us to do, but the more proactive you can be and take control of your healing, the better for your healing journey. Learning to interpret your body's messages, as I've taught you today, is such a powerful way to heal, and we can, if we listen to them right from the beginning, it won't escalate into something bigger. Also, educating yourself. We're so lucky now that we can listen to these amazing specialists and experts on podcasts or books, or listen to audiobooks if you're not a reader. Just follow your inner knowing to lead you to what you need to listen to. And then also using the practical tools and personalized practices between sessions when you're seeing a healer. Because when you take charge of your healing, it's giving a message to your body, and it also becomes more everlasting and more transformative. So key takeaways from today is everyone is intuitive. A lot of people think it's a special ability that people were born with, but it's not. It's a natural ability. It's a gift that we all have. Another takeaway is that your body is always talking to you, and your symptoms are actually really meaningful messages. They're not always problems to silence, so it's really important to listen to that. Also, that mind, body, and emotions and spirit, like, they're all deeply connected, and what you don't process emotionally shows up physically. Like when people come to me with health and wellness issues and we go back and hear their story, it just all starts to make complete sense. And then also that your thoughts actually create real effects. So learning how to guide them and learning how to shift them can really help you heal and feel. So I've been listening to Joe Dispenza's meditations over the last few days, and I love, so he's all about changing your thoughts and you change your life. So I love how he gets you to kind of look back on your day, either the day before or that day, and look at the behaviors, the thought patterns that you didn't like, that weren't serving you. Maybe you're running late to something, or maybe you had one too many chocolate biscuits. Just look at those behaviors and then kind of look at ways you can change that more and be more conscious. So I love how that just makes you aware of your thoughts and behaviors, and just gives you, it's actually really just being conscious of it and thinking about it in the meditation helps you make better choices the next day. And then the more you listen and the more you practice, the clearer your intuition will become as well. So another saying I love is, I'm always in the right place at the right time. If anyone wants, I've got a little free gift, and it's a little holistic wellness self-assessment that I give to people, and there's kind of a section for mind, section for bodies, section for spirit, that you kind of just look through it and kind of look and see where you're, maybe you can put a little bit more effort and work into. And if you want to book a healing or also do a free connection call, you can find me on my website, www.sofia.nz, and you can follow me on Instagram. I have spurts where I'm on there and where I'm not. It drives me bananas, but it's at sophia.intuitive. So thank you for coming. Thank you for listening.